Screen,
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
screen. అట్లా కాకుండా అది నొక్కేసి వచ్చేసి come this way. Yes, keep it here. Hello.
Please, sir. Please continue. Start.
Shall I start, sir?
Start, sir.
Start, sir. Already you are in live.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Good morning to the respected panel members of this YouTube online English classes. And dear students, a fine good morning to one and all. I am sure you all, watching these YouTube online classes. Thank you for coming to this class. And dear students, please open your notebooks. In the last class, we had a detailed discussion on the section C of the 5th unit, social issues of the abandoned poem. Today, we are going to have the class, on the reading comprehension model. Uh, Reading comprehension model. Today we are going to have a model reading comprehension, poem. The same poem we had discussed today. We are looking at this poem from the examination point of view. So, of course, this poem is not going to be, prescribed for the, reading comprehension, but we are looking at the model of this, poem as a reading comprehension poem. Now, dear students, you have already in your 9th class, you had already experienced how we are going to deal with the reading comprehension passages or poems. Now, let us look at the objectives of this class today. Now, the first objective is the learners will be enabled on the characteristics features of reading comprehension passages or poems. And by the end of the class, the learners will be able to attempt the poetic reading comprehension passages independently in a short time. So these are the two objectives. These are the expected outcomes of this class. And I am sure at the end of the class, uh, you will come to know how to deal with the reading comprehension passages, and and you will be able to attempt these things in a short time. So students, you know what is the reading comprehension? You please, I am sure you are watching the screen. Dear students, please note down the points that are there, the key points that are key questions I have prepared before actually getting into the class. I have prepared a few questions which can be, taken as a tools before we tackle the reading comprehension poem or a passage. Now, actually, what is a reading comprehension poem or a passage? How to attempt this question in the exam? Do we write lengthy answers to these questions? So what is the purpose of this reading comprehension? Have you heard of 3 R's techniques? How to apply the technique in our exam? Do we find direct or indirect questions? Are there figures of speech in the reading comprehension poems? So these are some of the questions that I have prepared so that you will be more acquainted with the passages, unknown passages. So dear students, you are aware of the the model paper. You are aware of the paper 1 and paper 2. Our examination papers, public examinations papers, in the paper 1 you have the reading comprehension passages. They come from the textbook. You have 15 marks there, and in this paper 2 you have 15 marks where you will get a unknown passage, and thereby followed by an unknown poem, or it could be anything, or passage or a poem. So in the entire English paper 1 and paper 2, if you together, if two papers are added, we have 30 marks, allotted for this reading comprehension passages. So if you concentrate, you know, you are we are very sure to get, more marks, and we can easily secure more marks. If you follow these techniques, if you keep these techniques in your mind. So students, keeping those 30 marks in mind, so I have taken this, I have decided to handle the to look at this poem from the reading comprehension point of view. So students, now once again, let us look at what is a reading comprehension poem or a passage. We read a lot of books, we read a lot of passages, we read a lot of articles. So how far our reading capacities, how far we are able to understand a particular text or a particular poem, how far, or a particular passage or a particular extract, so how far we are able to understand those texts. So this reading comprehension is going to help to check the mind, reader's mind, what the writer intends. This is going to help us in this way. So this is a reading comprehension. When you have a text, so you have a questions, which can help you, to understand a passage, or which will be helpful to understand the text in a better way. So now that is reading, one of the four skills you have: listening, speaking, then reading and writing. These four skills we have. Out of these four skills, you have listening and reading as a receptive skill, then speaking and writing as productive skills. So reading skill is a passive activity. So we read it with our eyes and we understand it. So in this way, reading comprehension, reading skill is going to help in to gain more marks in this way. So dear students, reading comprehension. What is reading comprehension? You read a text and you understand it. So that is, comprehension means understanding. You understand? Do you understand? The comprehend is a verb. Comprehension is a noun. So comprehension means understanding of a particular text. When you have a particular text, how far you are able to understand. So this is, what the reading comprehension means. So dear students, how to attempt this question in the exam? Now, do we write lengthy answers to these questions? What is the purpose of this reading comprehension? Have you heard of 3 hours techniques? How to apply technique in our exam? Do we find direct or indirect questions? Are there figures of speech in the RCP, reading comprehension poems? So, dear students, now you write down the 3 hours techniques. I'm going to give 3 hours techniques here. 3 hours techniques. What is 3 hours techniques? Before we read the text, first and foremost, you should recall 3 hours techniques. This is, read, reflect, and recall. Dear students, please write down 3 words. These 3 words will be Bible for you to attempt this question. So please write down these 3 hours techniques: read, reflect, and recall. These 3 words are very important. So how should we follow these techniques? The moment you take the question paper, first you read the passage. Right? Now come to the questions. You have a passage over there, then come to the questions and read the questions also. As a first step, you read the passage or a poem. You have read the poem. Then as a second step, you read the questions given to you. So now you read the questions as a second step. Now as a third step, come back to the passage. Now Second time you are reading the passage. So now here you have to apply the 3 R's techniques. How to apply here? In the first stage, you read the passage, then you went back to the question. You went to the questions. Now in the second stage, you are coming to the passage once again to read it. Now here you begin to reflect. I gave you 3 R's techniques. One is read, reflect, and recall. First you read the passage, then you reflect, think over it. What is reflect? Thinking, what the passage means. You begin to understand it, you begin to comprehend it. You spend for some time on the passage, you recall, you reflect on that, you try to understand, you try to see the unseen meaning, what the writer thinks in that passage or in that poem. So that is reflecting, you're reflecting on that. And at the same time you are also you have questions that are there in your mind. Now dear students, as a third step, you recall. In the first step you read the poem or a passage, and in the you read poem and passage and questions you read. And in the second step you had a reflection over the passage or a poem. Then in the in the in the third step you have you must begin to recall, you must begin to remember what the passage means, what the questions means. That is 3 R's techniques. This is very important. This is going to be very much helpful to you. Many times our resource persons or your beloved teachers might have told you in the class, in the classroom, but this is going to be the best techniques that you have ever seen or you might have heard. So dear friends, in the third step, recall means remembering. Remember when you should remember, when you're writing the answers to the questions. So you go to the passage, sometimes you may forget it, you may not find difficulties, you may go to the passage again and recall. While writing, you write answers, you start writing. So this technique will be very much helpful to you. So let me repeat the 3 words here. Read, reflect and recall. You write the meaning of the read. We read the text as a first step. Then you reflect, you reflect you reflect, reflect in the sense you try to think over it for some time. Then you have recall, remember whatever you have read in the passage, whatever you have you know whatever you have remembered, you begin to write. So this is the technique that you should apply when you are attempting this question from the examination point of view. So dear students, some of the other techniques you should keep in mind are this is how you should apply in the examination. Do we find direct questions or indirect questions? In the reading comprehension poem or a passage, you will not find direct questions. Sometimes you find direct questions and sometimes you find indirect questions. Sometimes the text, the literary text, the passage means something, the writer intends to convey something. So there may be some rhetorical questions, there may be answers within the questions. So in that way you should also think of those direct and indirect questions. So, so are there figures of speech in the reading comprehension poem? Sometimes there are also figures of speech that indirectly that have a dramatic usage of the language. Sometimes simile, sometimes metaphors, sometimes onomatopoeia, hyperbole, alliteration. These are some of the figures of speech that may be there. Personification, metaphor. These things you may find in the reading comprehension poem. So these things also you should you should you should you should you should remember, dear students. Now let us let us get back to the the poem that we had, you know, uh, in our last class. Dear students, we are looking at this poem, as a model. You have model test papers in your, in your preparation, and as a preparation, let us look at this poem as a, uh, model reading comprehension poem. This is not going to come in the examination. I'm sure you are all aware, but as a model, I have taken up this thing. So let us look at the poem, and let us, try to apply what I told you in the reading comprehension. Some of the techniques we have, I have explained to you. Now, how to apply this? So let us look at this poem. Now, dear students, please open the text, page number 158, and let us look at the, first, 6 lines that we have. Now you may also look at the, screen, in your phones or your systems. Now let me read, and let me apply the techniques of, 3 R's. Here also I am applying the same techniques, and you try to observe, and you try to imitate, so that you may get more marks in this reading comprehension poem. Abandoned to the garbage bin with mosquitoes and insects eating its tiny fingers away, little baby crying for help as foul smells make its play, irradiating from disposed bacteria. So you remember that 3 R's techniques. First read. I read the, poem. Now coming to the questions. Could you guess the title of the poem? Second one. Who wrote the poem? Who wrote the poem? Who was abandoned? Fourth one. Who are eating the little fingers? How are the little fingers of the little baby? Why was the little baby crying? Now these are the 6 questions that are given for the, reading comprehension poem. Since now we read the poem, now let us, reflect. Abandoned to the garbage bin with mosquitoes and insects. So that the baby is left in the garbage bin. Mosquitoes and insects are eating its little fingers away, and the baby is crying for help, and the bad smell is coming out over there. A lot of exposition of this, that bacteria, because of those, unwanted material was over there. Because of that, lot of bad smell is coming out of that, uh, garbage bin. So this is what the, stanzas mean. This stanza means. Now, could you guess the title of the poem? So I told you, you cannot write, very lengthy answers. This is a reading comprehension poem. To some of the subjects, you write, essay type of answers, short type of answers. It is not that way. Your answer should be, it should be 1 or 2 lines. That's all, not more than that. Some people write paragraph wise. That is a big mistake. You will not impress the, examiner. Okay, you remember that. You should all. I told you in the beginning also. When you attempt a reading comprehension passage, you should have a, very, short type of answers, which should be very straightforward to the question. You cannot beat around the bush. Your answer should be very precise. Remember those things. You might sometimes, will be in a hurry to, that the time is running off and time is going to be off. Don't keep all those things. You have to remember what the teacher, tells you in the classroom. Those techniques you have to apply. So these 3 R techniques you have to apply. So could you guess the title of the poem? What is the title of the poem? The title of the poem is Abandon. One line. Of course, you have sometimes if the known poem comes, you will without recalling, you will directly write who wrote the poem. So sometimes that the poet's name will be there in the text. You will be thinking, oh, where is the, you will be looking in the, a poem or a, paragraph, where is the writer's name, where is the writer's name. So sometimes you should apply your common sense also. Sometimes when the poem is given, at the end of the poem you have the writer's name there. So some people, they don't look at all those things. They will be in a hurry. So you have to be very cool, you have to be very calm, and you have to be very relaxed and read, the poem in a very comfortable manner. So these things you have to keep in mind. These also will be helpful to you. So who wrote the poem? Dr. Suraya Nasim wrote the poem. In simple sentence, who was abandoned? The infant baby was abandoned. Very simple. We had a detailed discussion in the last class. Who were eating the little fingers? The mosquitoes and insects, were eating the little fingers. How were the fingers of the little baby? The little fingers of the little baby were very small, because the baby who was thrown in the garbage bin, she was a month old. I have chosen this poem for reading comprehension poem, you know, uh, because you already had some kind of discussion. So we can easily, when you have some doubts or something like that, we can have a easy clarification of that. If some unknown poem is given, it is going to take a lot of time, and you will not have that text in your with you, so it will be very difficult for us. So hence this is a known poem. If the unknown poem is given for paper 2, so the way I am going to deal now, you should also apply the same techniques over there. Remember these things, very very important. So now, why was the little baby crying? Sixth question. So the little baby was crying. She was alone, and she was thrown away by her parents. Nobody was. She was very much afraid. So because of that, she was crying. So these one or two lines. In that way, you will have to attempt this, reading comprehension poem. Now this is how I, deal with this, reading comprehension poem. Now let us look at the, dear students, you please, note down these questions, so that, it will be a, practice for you. Now let us move on to the next poem passage. Now, unheard shrieks of the baby's hysteria die in eerie silence of the night, an outcast of destiny, its labored breath, racing in quick gasps, forced lonely like crab with cyanized lips, sea blue nose, and fingertips, its tattered and torn dirty wrap make it shiver in freezing grasp. Dear students, now we are applying the same technique, 3 R's techniques: read, reflect, recall. These 3 words are very important. These 3 words are going to be Bible for you when you deal with the reading comprehension. Dear students, I am sure you are all following this technique. So, dear students, look at, what do you mean by unheard shrieks of the baby's hysteria? So what do you mean by this expression? Now, if you don't understand these, sometimes, in the poem, there are very difficult words. Sometimes it is very difficult to understand the language of the poet. They write with a different, philosophy sometimes. So because, so we have, sometimes we may not read those unknown poem. For everybody, it is sometimes like that. So sometimes you may read the poem 1 or 2 times, or 3 or 4 times, or 5 times. You read as many times as possible. You have time, sufficient time. So read it, and try to link up those words. Come to the passage, come to the poem, and you will have some clue somewhere. Unheard. Oh, not able to hear. Sometimes, unheard, not able to hear. Shrieks, sounds, high-pitched sounds of the baby's hysteria. Hysteria is some kind of disease. So here, uncontrolled excitement, something like that. So what do you mean by that? The baby, according to the poem, the baby's, the baby's crying, the baby's shrieks are not heard by, heard by anyone. She was there alone in the garbage bin. Nobody was able to uh, hear her. Her uncontrolled excitement. This is, this is how you should write. The baby was the cries, the crying of the baby was not able to, hear by none. So this is how. Now, who died in the eerie silence of the night? It is the infant baby that died in the eerie silence of the night. Now, who is an outcast of destiny? An outcast of destiny is the baby, because as I told you the other day, now she has become an untouchable, unwanted child, and her destiny, her future is left to none. Since she is thrown in the garbage bin, in the garbage bin, she is left alone over there, and we don't know who will take care of her. So her life is, is left to the destiny. None. So this is how you should write. Okay, next. Can you explain an outcast? That is an outcast of, who is an outcast? Can you explain an outcast of destiny? An outcast of destiny means that the future of the baby is left to none. She has become unwanted child. Now describe the infant baby. Now, how to describe the infant baby? The describe baby. Look at the poem once again. You know, her lips have become, blue, and she has, little fingers. She is put in the, dirty wrap, and she has a, sea blue nose and fingertips. This is how you describe. She is forced to be, she is left over there like a crab, like a waste material. So this is how you should write, in a very short, in a short notes, in 1 or 2 lines you should write. Now let us look at the other stanza. A filthy black cat adjusts onto the whole bin, searching for easy rats and finds its food, tearing at the baby's hair with their sharp teeth. So, dear students, now once I read the stanza, now why did the black cat come over there? What was the black cat searching for? So the black cat, first question answer, the black cat, a filthy black cat came over there, in search of food. What was the black cat searching for? The cat was searching for rats. Who finds its food? You know, the black cat, finds, rats as food. What is the food? The food is rats. Who tears at the baby's hair? Who tears at the baby's hair? The rats are, tearing of the, baby's hair. So this is how you should answer in one sentence, in 1 or 2 words. So that way you can easily impress the examiner. Remember, you don't write lengthy answers. You cannot write 1 paragraph or 2 paragraphs. Sometimes there are some intellectuals. There will be, in our classroom. Sometimes we find those intellectuals. They write, they write all, a lot of, paragraphs and a lot of things. So that way you should not write. This is not an essay question. This is only a short question. So you should write the thing in write this thing uh, write this thing in a very I think there is a little problem with this slide. So wait for some time. We are coming back. Yes. So now let us look at the other stanza. Gnawing at its ears to complete their feed, as the cat jumps in with a screeching mew, the rats let loose a clicking squeak, a bloody crash ensues, the only sin of the infant being born. So, dear students, now we have come to the last stanza of the poem. How to tackle this? How to attempt this, reading comprehension poem. Now, let us apply the 3 R's techniques over here. First, read the passage, come to the questions, then go back to the passage, then recall, keep the questions in mind, recall, remember those questions, and apply the question attempt over the passage, and you will certainly find the answer in the lines. Now, gnawing at its ears, to complete their feed, as the cat jumps in with a screeching mew, the rats let loose a clicking squeak, a bloody crash ensues, the only sin of the infant being born. Why does the cat jump in? Because the cat jumped because because of the rats over there. Rats, rats are eating the baby, and immediately the cat jumped over the rats. Now, do you really think that the infant has committed sin? So look at the stanza, the only sin of the infant being born. Do you really think the infant has committed sin, dear students? You reflect over this question. No, the infant has not committed sin. It is the sin committed by the parents. Remember that. Who actually committed the sin? The parents have committed the sin by throwing the infant baby into the garbage bin. You remember this? Very, very important. Some people write, the baby has committed the sin. So that is what in the reading comprehension explanation, when we looked at the characteristics of the reading comprehension passage, there are some hidden meanings. There are indirect questions. There are direct questions as well. Direct questions anyone can answer. That is what we have to apply the 3 R's techniques. Read, reflect, and recall. You cannot simply, in a hurry manner, you cannot answer. Oh, I have found. Read the poem or a passage 3 or 4 times so that you will understand the intention, the hidden meaning also you will understand. You will also understand the writer's intention, what he was trying to convey. That is what I told you. The key aspect of this reading comprehension is to know how far the reader has understood the writer's mindset. That is why most of the question papers, not only our exam papers, even outside exams, there is a reading comprehension section for every exam, even for IAS, for civils, for jobs, for recruitment, for everything you have a reading comprehension passage. If you understand in a different manner, that is not going to help you. Suppose your friend has a letter, in English. He has written a letter to you asking you, to come to Hyderabad, for Dasara, for Sankranti holidays, for Pongal holidays, to come to Hyderabad, and he has given you some address. He is going to be at the Pandit Nehru bus stand over there, and if you don't know the comprehension, the understanding of the letter properly, you may think that your friend has invited to Rajamandri or Vijayawada, Amravati there. So something is going to taken in a different way. So that is what comprehension. When you have a letter or something, if you don't properly understand, you are going to mistake it. You are going to make a mistake. So you have to understand it properly.
Sir.
So, yes, madam. Yeah, signing now. Yes, madam. So, time. Yes, madam. So this is how you should do it, dear students. Keep these things. Yes, madam. Okay, thank you, children, for giving me. Thank you. I thank the panel members for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.